Hey everyone, how's it going? Sammy Musgrave here, your email copywriting expert. And today we're going to be looking at the recipe for a Michelin star email. That means that I'm going to show you how to create emails that grab the attention of your ideal prospect. They are going to compel your prospect to continue to read your email. And ultimately, it's going to move them forward in the buyer's journey. So we're going to break these ingredients up into 5 different modules. And we're going to start with the opening. That is the appetizer of your email. And you would think that I would be starting with the subject line and preview text, but I'm actually going to save that for the 5th module. You have really got to put your best foot forward here. If you want your ideal prospect to consume your email from top to bottom, you've got to make sure that you don't save the best for last. Instead, you need to save the best for first. Now, the beginning of your email has 3 main jobs. The first is it needs to be irresistible. So you really want to hook and draw in your ideal prospect. The second job is for it to be digestible. So you really want the first few lines especially to be just so smooth and easy to read. And that means you want to avoid big blocks of text. You want to avoid long sentences. You want to avoid big words. You just want the flow to be nice and smooth. And then lastly, you want it to be stimulating. So think of a real appetizer, how the first few bites are really meant to stimulate the appetite. We want to use the beginning of the email to have your reader crave more. And we do that by creating an open loop. So you can ask a question, you can generate curiosity, and the mind is automatically going to want to close the loop, which is going to draw your reader further into the email. Okay, I'm going to give you a small break from the food references, and I want you to think about some of your favorite books and movies. The ones that really drew me in were the ones that dropped me in the middle of the action. Look at Jaws, Jurassic Park, The Matrix. These movies drop you right into the action. It's attention grabbing. You want to know more. Think of Jaws. It starts out with Chrissy running into the ocean for a boozy skinny dip, and almost immediately something starts to pull her under, and I'm hooked. I need to know what happens next. So how can we apply that to your emails? Well, first we need to throw out the excess ingredients, and those are announcing your intentions, setting expectations, and giving a whole long backstory. We don't know Chrissy, we don't know her background, her history, her family, but we do want to know what happens next. So I'm going to show you an example right now, and it's going to really help you understand how this all works together. As I go through this email, I want you to think in the back of your head where you think this email should really start. So I'm going to read it. Hi, Sammy. Welcome and thank you for subscribing to my list. Since I am going to be showing up in your inbox every week, I thought I'd better introduce myself to you. My name is Jill, and I'm a life coach that helps passionate and ambitious women step into their power and confidence. I want to share a story with you about my journey. 10 years ago, something crazy happened. It was a day I'll never forget because it changed everything. It was an awful day, but if I could go back in time to change it, I wouldn't. It was 10 a.m. and my alarm didn't go off. I couldn't believe I slept in today of all days. So where do you think we should really start this email? You can see that it has a lot of backstory. She's setting expectations and she's announcing intentions. Yep, this is where I would start. I would start with, I couldn't believe I slept in today of all days. We are starting right in the action, right in the story. And of course, you can share all that backstory. You can, manage expectations, announce your intentions, but it's not going to be a Michelin star email if you do that. And listen, it's really common to start an email with backstory, setting expectations, intentions, that sort of thing. Don't beat yourself up if you've done this. I've done it a ton of times too, but I'm going to give you some really easy to follow tips to help you avoid it in the future. So the first is ask yourself before you send your email to your list, can you get rid of that first paragraph? Will the email still make sense if you get rid of that entire first paragraph? Experiment a little bit. Ask yourself, what about the second paragraph? Or what about half of the second paragraph? It gets easier the more you practice. And then ask yourself, are you using the icebreaker as a crutch? Let me show you what I mean by that. Going back to this email where she says, since I'm going to be showing up in your inbox every week, I thought I'd better introduce myself to you. Now, I've done this too, but the vibes that it's putting off, it's really, apologetic and timid. So it's almost like she's saying, remember you told me I could email you. I hope you didn't forget. So here I am emailing you, and I'm going to do it every week. I hope that's okay. I want you to give yourself permission to show up in their inbox with confidence. Remember, they invited you into their inbox. Feel good about that. Own it. So here's what you can do instead so that you show up with confidence in their inbox. One of the things you can do is tell a story. So here's something that showed up in my inbox recently. Out of nowhere, with a mouthful of pistachio-crusted pork loin, I get this question. Mom, did people make up the idea of God? That's what they don't tell you about parenting, Sammy. All these talks that you prepare for, God, sex, hamster deaths, aren't planned. They happen suddenly like a car accident. My 12-year-old son has a particular way of bringing up these major topics nonchalantly over a bougie dinner. Oh my God, I love it. So here's what this email is doing really, really well. She's using a story to create an open loop. We can visualize the scene here. That's a great tactic. Whenever you can, show us instead of telling us. We know that she's eating dinner with her son before she even tells us, and she's being specific. So instead of saying, with a mouthful of food, she actually says exactly what kind of food it is. And it's relatable. Even if you're not a parent, you're familiar with the your hamster went to live on a farm conversation. It's humorous, especially when she compares these conversations to a car accident, as in they're not fun to have and they're definitely not planned for. You don't have to just start with a story. You could start with a conflict or tension. For example, I'm so angry at Dan for purposefully trying to blow up my house, exclamation mark. By the way, that is a true story, and it is about a semi-feral dog that I used to foster, and his name was Dan. Really interesting story. Another example, starting with conflict or tension, I realize now that I shouldn't have taken Dan home behind my husband's back. Also very true. The last way I'm going to show you how to open an email in a really powerful way is just getting right to the point. We still want to make sure that we're leading with the what's in it for me or acknowledging the ideal prospect's pain points. So in this example, she says, Sammy, I am so glad you signed up for my list. Get ready for weekly emails that will. And I just want to stop here for a second and acknowledge that, yes, she's setting expectations a little bit, but it's really quick and painless, totally fine. Continuing on to show you how to confidently charge better rates without feeling like an imposter. Teach you how to dominate your calendar so that you never have to feel bad about missing dinner with your hubby again, and help you systemize your least favorite tasks so that you can spend more time doing things you love. So this is a really great way to have your readers look forward to your emails, because she is speaking to her ideal prospects' deepest desires and pain points. Okay, so we talked about how to open your email. The next module is going to be all about how to segue from your story or your opening to the point or to your offer. So we're never just telling the story for the sake of telling the story. There's always going to be a point, and we're always going to make sure that we're able to take them from the story into your offer. So get practicing. I'm here for your questions. If you want to message me because you have questions, my email is sammy@sammycopy.ca, and my website and Instagram handle are listed here as well. So I'll see you next time. Bye.